60-year history of the Washington Redskins encompasses some of the great games and great players past and present. An organization that personifies an era of the sport where violent collisions and dramatic victories in the grass and mud were the norm, not the exception. From Slingin' Sammy Baugh to the rugged Sam Huff, the Hogs, and the Diesel. The DC faithful have had many reasons to voice the refrain, "Hail to the Redskins."
Riggin. He's going to go all the way. Unless Blackwood can catch him, and he
In a day and age where nostalgia is in, this team is a throwback to a time when only the strong survived. While the names and faces evolve, their glorious tenure endures. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Today, in hallowed RFK Stadium, this ritual continues as the undefeated Washington Redskins write another chapter in the history of the National Football League.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Cleveland Browns versus the Washington Redskins. Cleveland Browns versus the Washington Redskins.
And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to RFK Stadium. And what a special place this stadium is to play in the National Football League. Perhaps the loudest of all of the outdoor stadiums, and the fans, as you can see, well, they are a completely different breed here in our nation's capital. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Todd Christensen, and the Washington Redskins, of course. They have that perfect season going. They're 6-0, but even more than that here at home, not only are they 3-0, but they have shut out all three opponents, scoring 102 points to zip to none. Are they that good? Are they a juggernaut?
Well, you know, one of the things that the press here was very critical of the fact that, yeah, they had shutouts, but they did it to Detroit without Barry Sanders. They did it to Philadelphia without Cunningham and McMahon. But last week, when they beat Chicago in Chicago by a count of 20-7, people started saying, oh, man, hey, they are for real, and they're talking Super Bowl.
All right, what is the talk about the Cleveland Browns? They hang around, they stay close. Their record is 2-3.
Well, there was great optimism for them just a couple of weeks ago when they were 2-1. Since that time, they've had games with the Giants and the Jets where they've lost by a field goal apiece. Bill Belichick plays it close to the vest, but they have been competitive in every single game this season, and that's what they anticipate happening today.
The Redskins have won the toss. Their head coach is Joe Gibbs, and they will be receiving. And the Cleveland Browns will be kicking up. Interesting note, Cleveland leads this series 32-8-1. They have won the last 7 here at RFK. And we mentioned home sweet home. No points allowed. 3 shutouts have been fashioned by the Redskins. And Mitchell out of the end zone, and he returns to the 15-yard line. So we'll take a look at the offense of the Washington Redskins with that line of Lachey, McKenzie, Bostic, Schlereth, and Jacoby. Rippenbeiner, Orr, Clark, Monk, and Middleton. When they go to their 3 wide, the H-back will come out, and Ricky Sanders comes in. In motion, and the give is to Biner, and he's going to pick up about 3 yards on the play. It'll be second down as Richard Brown makes the tackle. Cleveland's defense, that front 7 of Burnett, Jones, the quick man himself, Michael Dean Perry, Pleasant, Waiters, Browns, and Clay Matthews. Secondary midfield, Hilliard, Barnett, and Newsom. When they go to the nickel, the defensive end and a linebacker will come out. Figaro and Braggs come in, and Clay Matthews moves to a defensive end position. It is second down. Ball game just underway. And Biner gets the call again, and he's going to be cut down near the 20-yard line. It'll be third down and around 5 to go as Randy Hilliard got it.
It was a pretty good stop there by Hilliard when you consider the fact that that cornerback for the Cleveland Browns is a mere 160 pounds. Ernest Biner at about 5'9", 205 is really a load. But at 160 pounds, he proves that he's fearless.
It'll be 3rd down and 6 as they spot the ball at the 19. Monk comes wide to the near side. Washington with 4 wide receivers in this set as Hobbs comes in along with Sanders. And Monk is in motion coming back over the middle. 1st down. Gary Clark picks up 11. And so the Redskins convert on their first 3rd down opportunity.
Gary Clark has been the most consistent receiver for the Washington Redskins. Over the past 6 years, he has averaged 69 catches for over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns per season. Art Monk clears the area there in the zone, and Clark is able to sit down in the dead spot and get the 1st down. Very reliable receiver, tough guy over the middle despite his only 178 pounds.
On the ground with Biner, and he's out to the 35-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 5. And you had a chance to talk with Biner yesterday. Not everybody gets a chance to talk to him, but you did.
Well, one of the reasons is that he felt like he didn't want to talk to the press for the last couple of weeks due to the fact that some people had misquoted him, and he didn't want this game to be a grudge match. He told me privately, that's business. That happened a long time ago. Yes, I was traded by the Browns, but I'm concerned with helping the Washington Redskins get to the Super Bowl.
And he said he doesn't mind being used up.
That's right. He doesn't mind being used up. He says, carry me 30 times a game. I don't care if I get tired.
And he carries again. Michael Dean Perry with the stop. Gain of a couple to mark it at the 36, so it's going to be 3rd down and 4.
Certainly this is one of the most one-sided trades in history. Ernest Biner being traded for Mike Oliphant. You can see right there the productivity. There is no contest. Many people begrudge the fact that Art Modell, in a fit of pique, got rid of Biner because of the fumble that he had during that AFC Championship game against the Denver Broncos.
Fit of pique?
Fit of pique, you like that? But it's fair to say that the trading of Biner could be considered an egregious mistake.
I would agree with that. Third and 4. Good protection. Comes back over the middle to Art Monk, and he drops it.
Well, this is something we should freeze for posterity because you're not going to see this happen terribly often. 749 times prior to that, you know that Art Monk made the catch. Here he gets lost in the shuffle, cuts back to the middle of the field. Nice move there on Braggs, but he's just unable to come up with the ball. Heading into this game, if you don't know by now, Art Monk has 749 catches. He is one away from tying Charlie Joyner for 2nd place on the all-time reception list.
Kelly Goodburn with the kick, and Metcalf with the return, and he draws a crowd at the 21-yard line. 36 yards on the kick, only a 3-yard return. Excellent coverage. We'll step aside for the moment. We have no score. During this timeout, as we are now back live, the Cleveland Browns gathered at the far side with their coaching staff. Meanwhile, the Redskins are waiting for them out at the 21-yard line.
Now, this is one of those things, I don't know if you'd call it superstition. When I played, I prefer to refer to it as continuity. Something that they like to do together as a group to create some camaraderie. So they're all set to go. First play of the game.
For the Cleveland Browns, they disdain the huddle since they've called the play at the side. Mack and Hoare are the starting backs, and the starting wide receiver on this side is Michael Jackson. So already Belichick, the head coach, is shaking up that starting lineup, and a quick gain of 14. Now, the set starting lineup that we thought we would see is Jones, Rienstra, Babb, King, and Fike. And then Kosar, Metcalf, Mack with Slaughter, Brennan, and Galbraith. Then when they go to the red formation, the fullback and tight end come out. Michael Jackson and Reggie Langhorne come in. But as you can already tell, that they have made changes off of that start with the first completion to the rookie Michael Jackson. Those are a quick out right side. The pass is complete to Metcalf. He's going to pick up about 4 yards on the play to the 39. It'll be second down and 6.
What they've done here is they've gone with a 3 wide receiver set, and Metcalf, normally a halfback, is flanked out. A quick to him, that actually is called a quick, 5 steps down and a hitch, and Mayhew's able to make the tackle. Not that much of a gain. Eric Metcalf has had a little bit of a problem getting big plays recently. Only 15 yards is the longest play from scrimmage, and you can see the production in touchdowns has gone down as well. And they're worried there in Cleveland about whether or not the justification for a first-round pick is there for this young man from Texas.
Kevin Mack is the remaining back. And he takes the pitch and is dropped for a loss. Outstanding defensive play by Monty Coleman.
Well, Monty Coleman just comes in unblocked. Monty Coleman has had an outstanding career. This is his 13th year with the Washington Redskins, a former 11th round pick. He just cuts underneath Tony Jones and is able to pull down Kevin Mack with 2 arms. You know, I was talking to Matt Millen on Friday night, and he was telling me that this is one of the strongest men on the team and one of the people that keeps himself in terrific shape.
Loss of 6, third down and 12. No score. 8:47 time remaining in the first period. Kojar against a 4-man rush, and it is low, and it'll be fourth down. Brian Brennan, the intended receiver.
You know what's impressive about that, Charlie? The coverage on Brian Brennan was by Monty Coleman, number 51, a linebacker. They think that he can match up man for man with some of the faster backs out of the backfield. Watch the middle of the field. You're going to see number 51 right there in front of Brian Brennan. That shows a lot of confidence on a linebacker to be able to be on a wide receiver.
Fourth down, Brian Hansen will be kicking. Brian Mitchell is the return man. Takes it at the 30. He's got 10. 15, 20 yards on the return, and the Redskins have excellent field position at the 50-yard line. We have no score, but we have 8:25 left to go in the first. We'll be back in a moment.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By cold filtered Keystone and Keystone Light. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? By Canon, the official camcorder of Little League Baseball. And by Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Welcome back to RFK Stadium. The score, the Washington Redskins nothing, the Cleveland Browns nothing. Washington on offense for the second time in the ballgame. They'll start at the 50-yard line. And they have 3 wide receivers. Far side is complete to Sanders, and he goes out of bounds at the 44. Gain of 6, second and 4.
One of the things that Coach Gibbs was telling us yesterday is that their special teams have been tremendous. Here, Brian Mitchell, who is leading the NFC in punt returns, cuts upfield and enables the offense to start at midfield. An interesting point here is that his 17.2 yards per return, the coverage teams for the Redskins are only allowing 4 yards per return. So you can see that's a 13-yard discrepancy every time they punt or punt return. And so that's enabling the Redskins to get tremendous field position in the first 6 games of the season.
Minor, the remaining back, and he takes the handoff, and he'll pick up a yard, maybe 2. Mark it at the 43-yard line, so it's going to be third down and 3 for the first down. And Michael Dean Perry makes the tackle.
You know, yesterday when we were talking with Michael Dean Perry, you asked him the question about, you know, his inordinate quickness and where did that come from? He said it's absolutely God-given. So I had to ask him. I said, Michael, I said, well, what are some of the things that you do to improve upon what you have? And he said that he plays a lot of basketball. And he says inevitably when they play pickup games, he says I'm always on the quickest guy. And he said that helps my feet. And he can dunk too, which is pretty amazing for a 300-pounder.
Third and 3, monkey motion. Rippon to throw. Pass is complete underneath the coverage. He goes to Ricky Sanders. They'll pick up the first down. Van Waiters with the stop.
It's got to be tough on Van Waiters to have to cover somebody as quick as Sanders. The formations, the Redskins move him around. Van Waiters has to be underneath with Sanders. He just finds the dead spot and is able to maneuver past for the first down. Almost able to strip the ball, but Sanders does a nice job holding on. Probably the member of the posse there that gets the least attention. When we say the posse, of course, we're referring to the triumvirate of Sanders, Clark, and Monk. But anybody who remembers the Super Bowl when they defeated the Denver Broncos tonight, Ricky Sanders was a big part of it.
Rippon with protection goes deep, overthrows everybody. Clark, the intended receiver. Minifield picked him up.
Frank Minifield did a real nice job there. What happened was that Gary Clark went with a hook and go pattern, but Frank Minifield has been around the block, been in 3 Pro Bowls. He's not going to be fooled by that move.
Let's take a look at that move.
Gary Clark is going to settle down and make it look like a hook route, but look at Frank. He's looking right in the backfield and says, I'm not buying that. Runs right with him. All he could do is overthrow. Frank Minifield had his shoulder injured last week, and if he wouldn't have played today, he would have been one of 4 starters. 3 of the starters they'd already penciled in for this season are out. Frank Minifield with the bruised shoulder is able to come back and play this year.
Rippon 3 of 5, 22 yards. And here's the completion to Art Monk. This is his first reception of the ballgame. That now ties him with Charlie Joyner for second on the all-time list.
And you can tell the appreciation by the crowd's reaction. They know that that's his 750th catch. He's run this route, I would guess, probably 1 million times if you count practice. Lets him clear, cuts underneath. Minimal gain, but as we mentioned, that is his 750th catch. Now the crowd is on its feet because they want him to throw to Art. They want him to pass Charlie Joyner.
Officials timeout. The Art Gallery. No question that he is a masterpiece. And it is third down. First down to Ricky Sanders. And now Rippon is starting to pick the Browns apart. 12 yards on the play.
One of the things he did here, which is a sharp quarterback will do, is he goes against somebody who's not in the game. Stephen Braggs comes in as the 5th defensive back. He hasn't been in the game long. Sanders runs an out route, able to beat him for the first down.
In this drive that started at the 50, the Redskins have converted twice on third down, 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 7. Rippon now has completed 5 of 7 for 39 yards.
Now the Redskins opt to beat up the Browns a little bit. They're going with a 3 tight end set.
And here's Biner, right side. And he is stopped at the 20. He'll gain a couple. It'll be second down and 8. Clay Matthews brings him down. Let's check in now with the 10-minute ticker of the other early games today. No score between New Orleans and Philadelphia. Buffalo quickly in front of the Colts, 7-0. Cincinnati with a field goal lead over Dallas. Minnesota 7-0 over Phoenix. And we have no score here between the Cleveland Browns and the Washington Redskins as we come now to the 8th play of this drive at the 20-yard line. 4.5 minutes time remaining in the first quarter. Clark on the reverse. No, that's Sanders on the reverse.
You know,
the 13.
It was funny to watch is that when he comes around, it really wasn't that good of a play, but he opts to stay right behind his right guard. He puts his hand on his back and wants nothing to do. Take a look here when he takes the reverse. Now watch when he cuts up. Right behind Raleigh McKenzie, just puts his hand right on him and follows him as far as he can.
Not a bad idea.
No, not at all. Raleigh McKenzie does a nice job pulling out and leading the way. About a 6-yard gain on the play.
3rd down and 2. Rippon in the end zone for Monk.
What a catch!
Touchdown.
What a way to break the record. Wow! What a way to get past Charlie Joyner. He does it in style.
50-yard drive, 9 plays, 14-yard touchdown.
Art Monk now a part of history. There you can see he just went past Charlie Joyner, second place on the all-time list. Only Steve Largent in front of him. Might want to mention that 3 of the people on that list are here with us today. Ozzie Newsome, of course, works as a special assistant with the Cleveland Browns. And Charlie Taylor is the receiver coach of that man right there, who is now the second leading receiver in NFL history. Well, it couldn't have been any more dramatic for Art to get the record. Corner route right in the back of the end zone. Terrific catch as he lays out. Fingertip grab. Watch the right knee. Does it get down? It does. Good call by the official. Touchdown, Redskins.
Metcalf fields it on the second bounce after the 15, the 20, and he returns to about the 24-yard line. Let's take another look at the touchdown.
Art Monk is going to be here in what's called stick motion. He'll come down here, and then as he comes off, he's going to break to the corner. Now, what happens here is that Vince Newsome does not get over quick enough, and the result, of course, is a touchdown for the Redskins.
The touchdown that moved him into second place on the all-time list, and the reaction of the quarterback, Mark Rippon.
And I think he's genuinely happy for Art, not so much the touchdown, but the fact that a class act like Art Monk was able to get that record.
Cleveland from their own 23-yard line is jumping and will have a false start. And it's going to be called on the tight end, Scott Galbraith. Joe Gibbs on Art Monk. He's a great person. He's a great family man. He has a great character. He's the best prepared and does the best job taking care of himself of any guy that we've had. Art Monk also, last December, is the man who called the players-only meeting that now has become a tradition for the Redskins, and they have it every Saturday night at the hotel, home and on the road. There's Charlie Taylor. He, of course, part of the Washington Hall of Stars that are here at RFK. But back to the fact that it was Art Monk who started that tradition, and since he started the meetings, the record is 10-2. First and 15. Kozar looking for a screen, drops it off to Kevin Mack. And Mack just goes sailing up the far sideline. And he picks up the first down with yardage to spare. He's out at the 37-yard line. He has 19 yards on a first and 15.
This is a screen pass set up to the right. They let the people come in a little bit. You can see Mack does a good job of faking, acting, cuts up field now. Right behind Ed King, who does a nice job of getting Darrell Green just enough to where he can't make the play. And that enables Monk to come downfield, run over the safety, and get the first down.
Danny Copeland finally stopped him. First down Cleveland, their own 37-yard line. They trail 7-0 in the ballgame. 2:49 time remaining first quarter. Kozar looks left, comes back right. It is high and pulled down by Metcalf. Slips a tackle. Eric is to the 20. And down around the 19, maybe the 18-yard line. And I'm wondering if you heard what you were saying about him earlier in the telecast. 44 yards on the play, and Metcalf has answered all of his critics.
Well, this is a terrific throw by Kozar. He's able to find the zone. What it is here is that Metcalf just cuts up the field, gets behind the linebackers. Kozar looks left, fools the safety. Now all alone, reaches back. Boink! Nice move there. Sweet feet by Metcalf. It looks like he might go the distance. Cuts back inside, but eventually the pursuit catches up to him. That play is the longest from scrimmage that Eric Metcalf has had this season.
Kevin Mack. Close to the 15-yard line. He'll have about 4. It'll be second down and 6. A quick look now at the Washington defense. Of course, many defensive changes throughout the ballgame, but you have your base that you start with your front seven man, Williams, Johnson, Stokes, Marshall, Matt Millen, and Collins. And in the secondary, it'll be Mayhew, Green, Copeland, and Edwards. When they go to the nickel, 2 linebackers come out. Coleman and Johnson come in. And when he asked Joe Gibbs about the nickel package, he outlined about 18 different nickel packages. We said, Joe, no, just give us one of them. And that's the one that we have. The Redskins have called a timeout. That stops the clock. 1:32 time remaining in the first quarter. And the score, Washington 7 and Cleveland nothing, but the Browns are driving. The Browns slow starters this year. They've been outscored 50-19 in the first half. They've not scored in the first half of the last two games. But in the second half, it's been a different story. They've outscored their opponents 53-19 in the third quarter. Their defense is not allowed to score. Today, they're trying to flip-flop. That gets started early. And by the way, they're on the move. And the Redskins' home shutouts right now are in jeopardy. There was a missed cue on the handoff. And Kozar is going to lose a yard back to the 17, so it'll be 3rd down and 8. Tim Johnson was there to cover him.
Charlie, I don't understand that call, and the reason I don't is that heading into this drive inside the so-called red zone, Kozar is 4 for 5 for 82 yards. Now, why are you handing the ball off against a team that you know is going to stop the run? Kevin Mack goes the wrong direction. That's all Kozar can do. But now they're faced with 3rd and 9, and you know they're going to have to throw the ball here.
And if we know it, you know that the Redskins know it. Little swing right side to Max. That's a tackle. And he is close to the 10-yard line, but is going to be a couple of yards shy of the first down. That was a 3rd down situation, and the field goal team will come in.
Well, this play is called a swing screen. Kevin Mack, just to the far right of your screen, is just going to run a little swing pattern. And the tackle's going to come out with him, but you can see right there the tackle gets cut up, and so the blocker who would have been there ordinarily is not there. And despite the good running by Mack, he comes up.
It's a fake. It's a fake. They throw right corner touchdown. Webster Slaughter was all alone on the right side, and nobody picked him up. It'll be an 11-yard touchdown.
Take a look right here on the far right of your screen. It's almost like the dead man's play. Look at where Slaughter is out here. Nobody had any idea there's only 10 people on the field. He's going to come up the field. He's going to be wide open. Nobody sees him. You know, yesterday, Bill Belichick looked at you and you asked him, is he going to have any special plays today? And he winked at you and he said, yeah, maybe.
But he had this Cheshire Cat look. This is what he was thinking about. Well, Brian Hansen, the holder, is the man who throws the touchdown pass.
Okay, right there you can see that Joe Gibbs is arguing the point. I think Richie Pettibon would too. Is that did he get on the field in time or did he slide on? And was it deception? Because if he was able, you know, the old argument is if you can get away with it, it's a good play. But Slaughter comes on the field, and you're thinking defensively, you almost always have your safety count the number of people, and Pettibon right there, you know is really irritated. Watch when they come and run on the field. Now here comes, look at him right here. He comes off, he looks like he's going to run on the field, and then he
makes a left-hand turn.
And then he fools him, makes a left-hand turn, and comes to the 12.
That's right. But he was on the field. Nobody picked him up as he went off. Oh, and he is wide open.
Oh, they got away with one. That's great.
Yes.
A little bit of deception. Subtle left-hand turn.
You know, that's not a bad pass either from Hansen.
Review, the play will stand as called. Touchdown.
Well, what is there to review? I mean, there's nothing to review. The guy was out there. The only thing to review is whether or not he deceived them by coming off the sideline,
right.
And he didn't.
That's what they were looking at, to make sure that he didn't. 77 yards on the drive in 6 plays. Here is Stover for the tie, and it is good. And so an interesting turn of events. The Browns 7, the Redskins 7 with 25 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Right here, you're going to see the little subtle left-hand turn. It looks like normal play, right? The offense is coming off the field. No big deal. You know, what's the big deal? Everybody's coming off the field. They're into the field goal. We're going to try and make the block field goal. But take a look at Slaughter, 84. All of a sudden, he's going to make that very subtle left-hand turn. Looks back. What's going on? Nobody knows. Oh, I'm fooled. And here I come. Here I come. Uh-oh. Is he still, though?
Yes.
That was awfully close. That's another thing that they might be debating is whether or not he was still.
Too late now. Because soon as that extra point, soon as the next play, all is in the books. Well, we've got a 7-7 ball game.
And rather than take a look at Bill Belichick, rather than Cheshire Cat, it's like, well, what's the problem? You knew this was coming. Yeah, just a subtle little funny play that we have here with the brown and orange. 3 weeks ago when we had the New York Giants, you recall, they had a punt return where they had a throw completely across the field. Metcalf caught it, took 2 steps and threw completely across the field, a lateral to Frank Minifield. So for those people that say that this man is a little too conservative, a little too dull, I don't think so.
Ricky Irvins and Brian Mitchell, and an onside kick. Flag is down. The Browns are pulling out all the stops. They recover, but there was a flag dropped at the 36-yard line.
Unfortunately, the Browns are going to be offsides. Lattenberry has the ball, but it's going to come back because the Browns were offsides. Matt Stover did what is called a suicide onside. That's what that is called because the idea is for the kicker to come up with the ball. This is great. This is great. This is almost like schoolyard ball. That's too bad that it comes back. I mean, it really is. I mean, whether you're rooting for the Redskins or the Browns, you got to like this. You got to like the creativity of Bill Belichick.
His play calling does get your attention, doesn't it?
Boy, he's pulling out all the stops. People don't realize. We'll let the official make the call. People don't realize that Bill Belichick has been in the National Football League since 1975. Despite the fact that he's now his first year as a head coach, he has been in the NFL some 16 years. This man knows what this league is about. He's been turning it on its ear these last 2 plays, I'll tell you.
Here's the call.
We got illegally touching the ball as well as offside on the kicking team. We will replay a kickoff 5-yard penalty.
Illegal touching, of course, means that it's touched by the kicking team prior to it going 10 yards.
So you can see clearly there, the one man about third from the right of the kicker. Now watch, it's going to get touched right there. Right there, it's going to hit his leg. He didn't mean to, but he did touch it. That was Stephen Braggs who touches the ball. Watch just to the right of your screen. You're going to see right here, try and make a block right there. It hits his foot before it goes 10 yards. The 3 men from the kicker to the left, there was offsides anyway. Now, wouldn't it be something if they were to try again? Well, they're not going to do it.
Don't say that. They're liable to.
Never say never.
Never say, not with this crowd.
Well, all of a sudden, I'd say that the 50-some thousand here in RFK have laryngitis because
it has gotten very
mumble.
It's a 7-7 tie now with 20 seconds left to go in the first quarter. And he kicks it away.
Oh, rats.
Mitchell takes it at the 5. He has 10 yards in the return. He's got 20 yards on the return. Well, 23, 24 yards of fumble. The Redskins say they have it. The Browns say that they have it. And by the time the officials get to the bottom of the pile, your guess is as good as ours.
Now, who's got the strongest hands is what this comes down to. It doesn't matter who recovered the fumble.
What really happens down underneath this?
It's kind of like presumed innocent. You know, you get in the courtroom and that's where they recreate what actually happened. Right now, it's going to be the strongest guy who's able to pull it away. And when the official comes up and makes that decision,
Tom Dooley comes. He's going to make a decision just to get out of there.
I think that's probably the most physical I've seen an official get in a long time.
Oh, he was down there burrowing. The players are still on the ground.
Right there, the ball is stripped. That was a nice play there by David Brandon. As the ball comes loose, you can see Lattenberry has it, or does Raven Caldwell. Now watch. On the bottom of the pile, Raven Caldwell is able to strip it away. He had the strongest hands. Got to give him credit. He fought the hardest, so the Redskins come up with the ball.
I tell you, Tom Dooley, the referee, fought as hard as they did. He was really burrowing under them. All right, first down for the Redskins. The ball at their own 28-yard line. Ball game is tied, 7-7. Reiner gets the call. He'll have 3 to the 31. It'll be second down and 7. As time runs out in the first quarter. A wild first period. We are tied at 7. When we come back to the fumble, watch number 50.
Well, Raven Caldwell, along with David Brandon, caused this fumble right there, the shoulder. Watch what happens. He's the one that knocks the ball loose. Now, when everybody starts to fight, take a look. Now, watch 50 come back into your picture. He's going to have your back turned to you right here. Now, watch. Where's the ball? This is the man right there. Number 38 sitting on top of it, but number 50 is the one who's going to fight right here. Caldwell, he's actually going to be the one that's going to get to the bottom of the pile, fight hard, and come up with a ball. So it just goes to show whoever actually recovered the fumble didn't.
Here's Biner. 9 yards to the 40-yard line and a first down.
Delayed draw to Ernest Biner. Nice job there by Raleigh McKenzie to get Michael Dean Perry to take the arm over and go inside, and that's the hole that Biner follows behind for the 9-yard gain.
Biner 8 carries, 24 yards rushing, first down. Rippon wants to go deep. It's covered, comes back underneath to Art Monk. And there's a flag dropped back downfield at the 37-yard line. Monk is out of bounds.
Charlie Clay
around the 43, gain of 18.
Clay Matthews was trying to sprint off the field and get off, but he wasn't able to get off in time. So I believe it's Cleveland who has 12 men on the field.
That's what the call will be. It's a delay of game, 12 men on the field call.
The penalty is declined. The first down out of one.
Here you can see right here, this is Clay Matthews. He's going to be sprinting off the field just as the play's about to begin, but he's not going to make it. And that's what the official saw, number 57 there on about the 44-yard line. Unable to get off the field in time, but because of the catch by Monk, they're going to refuse it out.
And when we have just a little break here in the action, we're going to go to New York to NFL Live. Bill Parcells is going to converse about the call of Belichick on the fake field goal that ended up with a touchdown. Here is Monk with a sliding grab at the 36-yard line.
Art Monk with kind of the backward hook pattern. Nice catch. That's his 4th catch of the day. Now I guess he wants to leave Charlie Joyner far behind and set his sights on Largy.
Monk, 4 receptions, 44 yards, touchdown. Touchdown that moved him into second place. Second down and 4. Wide receiver for the Redskins. Middleton, the tight end, is in motion. Ripping back to throw. Along the far side, pass is complete to Clark. Good move down the sideline. And here come the Redskins. Gain of 18.
The offensive line for the Washington Redskins has been tremendous this season. They've done an excellent job of protecting Rippon, but when you go with the moving pocket, it's even better. This buys time. You're going to see Gary Clark just get caught in the zone. They assumed that he was going to go deep, and he doesn't. He comes back to the ball, finds a void, and is able to get a big gain. But the play there was really made by the offensive line. That was a good 5 seconds. The Rippon was back there, able to spy the field.
And Rippon, he is now 9 of 11, 93 yards and a touchdown. Set the throw again, Imjong, and there's some pushing by Monk, and they're going to call it incidental contact. And in reality, it could have been called offensive pass interference as Minifield had him well covered.
Frank Minifield did a good job of anticipating the corner route. He runs back to the corner, and he actually beats Art Monk to the route. So you're right, if they're going to call anything, it would have been on Monk. It's good coverage by number 31. He was already there. He's in position. Nice job by Frank Minifield. He does a little acting and turns around to the official and says, "Hey, come on. If that would have been me on the other end of it, you would have called interference." And, of course, he's probably right.
He is right. Rippon had hit 5 in a row until he missed Monk with that connection. It's second down at the 19. Riggs is in the offensive set. And here's the reverse to Sanders. Are they in love with that play?
Well, it worked once. Got a couple of yards with it. It's interesting to note that with Frank Minifield on those last 2 times that they have tried Frank Minifield throwing wise, those are the 2 incompletions that you've mentioned.
Let's check the Schick Tracer 10-minute ticker. Cincinnati in front of Dallas 10-0. Minnesota out in front of Phoenix by a score of 7-0. And here the score is 7-7 with 12-13. Time remaining in the first half. It is 3rd down and 7. Middleton again in motion. Rippon goes deep in the right corner. It is caught. They're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. And it is Monk again. A gain of 15 yards. And Rippon put that pass where only Monk could catch it. That was a great throw.
Yeah, I think that everybody's caught up in Art Monk today, and well, they should because of the milestone. But the throw makes this. Frank Minifield looking the backfield, turns around. Now, Art Monk gets a little bit of a push-out. Frank Minifield struggles back. There's barely any room to get that ball in there. That was a nice throw by Rippon. Right on the mark. There's only about a 5-yard cushion right there where he can get that in between the inline and Minifield. And Monk was able to make the catch.
And it's first and goal at the 1-yard line. And they're going to come back and review.
The review that they're going to have here is that Monk's feet are actually in the end zone, but whether or not the ball crossed the plane is another story. If we can get a replay, you're going to be able to see that Art Monk's feet touch down inside the goal line. Watch where his feet are. Okay, his feet, they're inside. That's a touchdown. Right there, that's a touchdown. But he falls back out, but the ball crosses the plane, so that should be a touchdown. Once again, you have to give credit to Rippon because this is outstanding coverage by Minifield. But the ball crosses the plane, as does Art Monk. That's a touchdown for the Redskins.
Rippon 10 of 13, 108 yards. He is 5 of 6 on third down.
You know, the buzzword here in Washington is the fact that they know that they've got a great team, but
here's the call.
Is whether or not Rippon can lead them.
Review, the play will stand as called. First down.
They're going to mark it first and goal to go.
Of course, it'll be a moot point if they can punch it in for a touchdown, but I'm sure that Art Monk would like to have another touchdown catch. The point I was going to make is that the debate around here in Washington, D.C. is the fact that they have a tremendous running game. They've got a great defense. Their special teams are working. But is Mark Rippon the one that can take us to a Super Bowl? He's certainly playing Super Bowl quality today.
This is the 9th play of the drive. Touchdown, Redskins. From a yard out.
That's what they bring Gerald Riggs in for. You know, he's a part-time player behind Ernest Biner, but already that's his 6th touchdown of the season.
Bo Miller with the point after. It's good. And Washington has regained the lead. 14-7, back with the kickoff.
This is Bob Costas in New York. Here's Bill Parcells' explanation on how the Browns snookered the Redskins.
Well, Bob, here's a little trickery. Right there you see Webster Slaughter. He's hanging around within 15 yards of the huddle. He appears to be going off the sideline with the rest of the Browns substitutes, but instead he goes over and stations himself 1 yard from the sideline. He's within the rules. Brian Hansen, the punter, then snaps it quickly and throws it to Slaughter for the touchdown. It's called a sleeper play.
The old sleeper play.
The old sleeper.
All right, back to RFK.
The old sleeper play. Here's Eric Metcalf on the kickoff return. Slips a tackle, tried to reverse his field, lost his footing, and is covered immediately. The old sleeper play. You like that?
No, I don't.
What would you have called it? If you were going to name it, what would you have named? Pick a word that I cannot pronounce, nor do I understand.
No. It doesn't have to be polysyllabic. It's just that I like the whole idea of...
I knew it. I knew you would do that.
That man is turning into the Count of Deception. How do you like that?
I like that.
All right.
That I can
I
understand.
thought you would. Sleeper play is a little archaic for me. That means old.
You're in mid-season form, and you may not live to get there. Here we go. Cleveland now trailing 14-7. Kozar has completed 5 of 6 for 88 yards. And he opens with the draw to Kevin Mack. We're seeing offensive fireworks on both sides.
We are, but that one's going to come back for holding. I think they caught Ed King.
Flag dropped to the 20-yard line. Ed King, number 68, the rookie taken in the 2nd round of the draft. 29th player selected.
Holding 68 offense.
It is. We had a chance to visit with him all yesterday. I was impressed with that young man.
Here he is, a right tackle, 6'4", 300 pounds. He's going to come out and he's going to put the clamp hold here on the delay route. The minute that right hand goes out, now see, he goes down like right here, and what the whole idea there is he assumed that he got pulled down, but in reality, I don't think he did. But too late now, the flag's already dropped.
He told us yesterday that every game he becomes more and more comfortable with the techniques, with the offense. He's pleased that he came out when he did.
Well, I tell you, when I talked with Mike Babb, I said, what do you think of Ed King? And he says, he's as good a guard as I ever played with. And I said, wait a minute, you were in New England when a guy by the name of John Hanna was there. And he says, that's right. That's saying a lot about this young man. He gave up his final year of eligibility in Auburn to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and he doesn't regret it a bit.
I'll tell you something else. The head coach, Belichick, he'll have, when he checks out linemen, he has him hit him in the chest to see what kind of a snap they have. He's carrying bruises.
I'll bet.
First and 19. The penalty assessed from the spot of the foul. Pass is complete out to the 23, maybe the 24-yard line. Ryan Brennan, they'll spot it at the 23, gain of 14.
Check the left side of your screen. Watch Ed King totally get bamboozled by Williams. Look at the arm over. Gets right past him. Kozar shows a lot of composure to stay in there. With Williams in his face, he's able to complete it to Brennan for a first down. He told us that was his weak spot, was pass protection.
Second and 5 at the 23. Slaughter in motion. They give this to Mack, and he's going to pick up the first down. He's out to the 33-yard line. He's going to pick up 10 on the play. Danny Copeland makes the tackle.
Charlie, back in 1985, Kevin Mack was a 1,000-yard rusher and a Pro Bowler, and since that time, he hasn't been able to regain the form. A lot of it is injury. A lot of it is the fact that the offensive linemen have also had injuries. The philosophy has changed. But Bill Belichick told us that Kevin Mack has to be the bellwether of their running game. He has to get in the 20 to 25 carries a game and be that threat to enhance their passing game. Otherwise, the Cleveland Browns are going to struggle.
Michael Jackson, and they'll spot it at the 45. If the play holds up, that will be enough for the first down. There was a flag drop back at the 30.
Defense, number 75 is offsides. The penalty is declined.
That's Eric Williams.
First down.
And it'll be a first down at the 45.
Charlie, that's 2 catches now for Michael Jackson. I assume that some of the people at home might be wondering how come he's wearing the jersey number 1. Well, the reason for that was when he came to training camp, all the 80s were taken. And now you might say, well, there have got to be 80s on the team now, but in reality, all of the 80s except for 1 were taken, and some of them are on injured reserve. And the one that was reserved was number 82, Ozzie Newsome, and certainly that's going to be a number that is retired.
Here's the draw. And Mack to the 48-yard line, gain of 3. Mann and Marshall.
There you get a chance to see 662 catches worth of tight end, the leading all-time pass catcher at tight end, now a special assistant for the Cleveland Browns, Ozzie Newsome, certain to have that 82 retired. But getting back to the Michael Jackson situation, you know what? I like to see the different numbers. I liked it when Cliff Branch had 21, or Charlie Joyner had 18, or Harold Carmichael wore 17. But now, if you're a wide receiver, you have to be in the 80s. It's a little rigid for me.
Kevin Mack to the outside and cannot get around the corner. He's going to pick up maybe half a yard. That's going to be it. As Danny Copeland was there to chase him out, number 26.
You want to see over 1,400 catches worth of NFL footballs? There it is right there in the pregame. Art Monk shaking hands with Ozzie Newsome, 2 future Hall of Famers right there, and boy, could they catch it, the 2 of them.
And you mentioned the fact that Ozzie's number 82 would be retired. Well, he would become the 6th Cleveland Brown with his number retired, joining Otto Graham, Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Don Fleming, and Lou Groza.
Pretty good company.
Kozar has completed 7 of 8 for 113. And he is going to run and glide and slide and may not make it. He's about a yard shy. Collins got him.
Monty Coleman came up the middle on a blitz, and Kevin Mack is able to knock him out of the way, but Bernie certainly overestimated his speed here. Watch the block by Mack that knocks Coleman out of the way. Now he feels he has a hole and he's going to take off, but Andre Collins does a nice job of keeping him short of the first down. Now the question you have to ask here is he's sitting here with 4th and 1 after this run. And what the Cleveland Browns did earlier, this would be an opportune time to go with a fake, but instead they're going to go with their short yardage crew, and they are going to go for it.
So it is 4th down and 1. The ball just outside the 46-yard line of the Redskins. And Cleveland will take a timeout. That stops the clock. 7:09 time remaining. We are in the second quarter. The score, the Redskins 14 and the Browns 7. Will come back to RFK in a moment.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Geo. Get to know Geo. Available right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers. By Pert Plus. Shampoo plus conditioner in one bottle. One step to great looking hair. By Holiday Inn. Stay with someone you know. Call 1-800-HOLIDAY or your travel agent for reservations. And by Schick Tracer. It traces every curve on your face.
Welcome back to RFK Stadium. Washington leading Cleveland 14-7. 4th down and 1. The Browns are going to go for it.
I like this call. Bill Belichick knows that they've got to get it done right here in the middle of the field, but unfortunately you can see right there in first downs, they are last in the National Football League. That doesn't bode well here.
Now, here's a change. No, the kicker, Hansen, comes out.
They must have seen the graphic.
Make a note of this. On 4th down, they are 3 of 7 this year. That's just about 43%. May take the long count, see if they can pull anybody off sides. Punters love this. It gives them 5 more yards than their average. It'll be a delay.
The reason for the delay, in addition to the 5 yards, is because they had nothing but offensive linemen out there. For some strange reason, they didn't have their punt team. They had their punter, but offensive linemen. You can see them now all coming off the field, and here comes their punt team. So they didn't have their long snapper, so it was wise that they didn't try to snap the ball.
No, but yes, but maybe they're saying to the defense, look at this, well, we're going to fake, and so pull somebody into it.
Yeah, but the Redskins are a veteran team. And veteran special teams players like that who have been in that situation are not going to jump off when it's 4th and 1, particularly near midfield.
And here is Brian Mitchell, who leads the NFL in punt returns. He's back at the 10-yard line. High snap. Hansen has it. Good kick. Stepped away, batted back in the field of play.
Nice play by Latin.
That is beautiful.
Outstanding.
We're seeing everything today.
Boy, oh boy. Lattenberry, a converted cornerback from the University of Oregon. He was a running back there, plan B guy from the Rams.
He was airborne in the end zone. The last time he touched the ground, he was in the field of play.
All right. Terrific play on the special teams by Lattenberry. This is where his foot lands just inside the line. See the left foot right here? It's a good call by the official to let it go. Leroy Horde down for the get the ball down. 2-yard line.
And the Redskins start from their 4. Ernest Biner gets the call. Let's go to New York for an update.
Charlie, after trailing 10-0, Dallas now takes the lead at home over Cincinnati 14-10. Here is Ricky Blake, obscure resume out of Alabama A&M. Played in the CFL, then the WLAF with the San Antonio Riders. This guy doesn't even have a card in Stratomatic. He goes 30 yards, 14-10 Cowboys.
Stratomatic? You have your card with you, Tom.
Oh, of course.
2nd and 5. There is Biner off the right side. He was out for a few plays, you may have noticed. He has a sprained right hand, but he's back in the lineup. And he doesn't have it wrapped, as you saw. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Cleveland Browns have done a good job. They're the best against the rush in the AFC, and they've done a pretty good job of shutting down Biner, but unfortunately Rippon, as you mentioned before, is 5 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. He's been doing the job through the air. Jones, the rookie, hit Rippon late. Tom Dooley decided that he's going to tack that 15 yards onto the great catch by Sanders. Interference against Minifield, and then the roughing the passer against Jones. They'll certainly refuse the interference, but they'll take that 15.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, blow to the head, first down.
Trying to get close. Where's the shot to the head? Right there, right in the face. James Jones catches him.
And he wasn't in reality late. It's the fact that he came in high on him. If he'd come in low below the shoulder pads, he would have let it stand. The ball goes out to the 33.
You know what, though, Charlie? Again, I can't help but think of what Jack Lambert said when they went with that rule, and he said, what are we going to do next? Put dresses on him. I mean, that really wasn't that big of a collision. Rippon at 6'4", 235 pounds isn't exactly Cinderella.
Play action fake going deep. Art Monk has it. 21-yard line.
I suppose for the case of graphics at the beginning, we should have just turned this into the Art Monk show. Frank Minifield with him stride for stride, but Art Monk at 6'3", 210 is just a little bit too big. He blocks Minifield's body away from making the play, and it is, what can you say? This is the star of the show right here, Art Monk. What a day he's having, and we're only in the middle of the second quarter.
Takes an official with him, and he scores the touchdown.
This is the famous counter tray. Watch the right guard and right tackle. McKenzie and Jacoby take off. He follows behind Jacoby, cuts to the outside, and Stephen Braggs falls down. Now as he gets up, Biner's able to give him the right shoulder and cut into the end zone for the score.
And remember, this drive started back at the 4-yard line, 96 yards in 5 plays, with Biner, number 21, scoring from 21 yards out. And with the delay on the field, we are assuming that they are reviewing the touchdown.
Going to see where his left foot, his right foot, does he cross the plane? There's no doubt about that. He's inside, over the flag, the ball's in. Good call by the official.
Extra point is good. It's Washington 21, Cleveland 7, but there's a flag. There's a flag. Hold it. Don't everybody jump.
Joe Jacoby showing that he can do it from both sides of the ball. Of course, for years as a hog as a left tackle, now as a right tackle. Right here, it's the famous counter tray. There's Jacoby coming out along with Raleigh McKenzie. Everyone here on the line is going to block down. They're going to seal this side off. Unfortunately, back here in the secondary, these two people fall down, and Biner is able to get in for the touchdown. This play, as you recall, was made famous in that '87 Super Bowl when Timmy Smith ran for 202 yards against the Denver Broncos. That counter tray has been a staple of the Washington offense since 1983.
And we asked Joe Gibbs about the evolution of the counter tray, and he said it started in '83. He was looking at films at the University of Nebraska. They called it the counter gap. They made some adjustments. That's where it all came from.
You know, it's interesting because in the 70s, I remember names like Jeff Kinney, I.M. Hip, and Rick Burns. Those are the people running that counter gap, but the Redskins have perfected it.
Metcalf will down it in the end zone, and Cleveland will start from their own 20-yard line. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking with Steve McMichael, the great defensive lineman of the Chicago Bears, and I asked him, I said, what does a counter tray do to you? And he said that the problem with the counter tray as a defensive lineman, that if you're in the ball game, you have to stay at home. You have to stay at home because otherwise they run it, they kick you out, and they're going to turn upfield for a touchdown. You cannot just lay your ears back and go for the quarterback in a close ball game because the counter tray is always sitting there.
Well, the inclination of defensive linemen is to come up the field, but the minute you come up the field, you get caught up in the wash. It requires a certain amount of discipline by defensive linemen. And of course, when Michael Dean Perry, the defensive, the all-pro for the Cleveland Browns, is the oldest guy on the team with only 4 years experience, obviously you've got some people there that are not used to that sort of acumen.
But also he told us, I'll make the statement after this play, no gain by Kevin Mack. He said he wanted to try and slip in behind the guards with the guard and the tackle when they were pulling on the counter tray and follow the play.
Well, that's all well and good, but of course if he follows behind the guard and misses it, then there's a huge gap in the middle of the field for the Redskins to exploit.
Spot the ball on the 21-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 9. Kurt Gabea made the last stop. Kozar now has gone 170 consecutive passes without an interception. 7 of 8 in this ball game. Drops this one over the middle to Kevin Mack, and it's close to the first down, maybe a yard shy. Gabea again with the stop. And now let's check the Schick Tracer 10-minute ticker. Eagles over New Orleans in the second quarter, 6-0, and Buffalo comfortably in front of the Colts, 21-6. Cincinnati and Dallas at his post, Cowboys by 4. And right now Minnesota is shutting out Phoenix. And here with 2:54 and counting, time remaining in the first half, it is Washington 21 and Cleveland 7. Third down and 2. First down for the Browns, and Mack will go out of bounds at the 44-yard line. So he picks up 16 on the play and the first down as they convert on a third down opportunity. Terry Hogue stops him. Jumping.
Very impressive here by the stiff arm of Kevin Mack. Nice lead block there by Leroy Horde. Watch the stiff arm on Darrell Green. Just get out of the way. Just pushes him right in the face and says, boy, don't even bother with that.
Is he talking like that? Get out of the way?
Yeah, he says, don't get, yeah, that's exactly right. He says, don't get in my face. Said he put his hand in Green's face.
First down Cleveland, their own 44-yard line. Back on the far side, and he lowers his head when he takes on Darrell Green and goes over the top of him for 3 or 4 more yards.
Now, did you notice at that time, though, Darrell Green is a little bit smart. He says, there's no way I'm going to take this guy up top. I'm going to throw myself at his ankles. No way I want that stiff arm in my face again.
2-minute warning. Back in a minute. Today's NFL Live headlines: the Packers could lose a draft choice in the Tim Harris deal. Bill Parcells, that Bo could have been one of the best ever, and there's no question about that. And the head coach of Buffalo, Bruce Smith, on IR, and that is not schedule related. And be sure to be with us. Domino Pizza NFL Live coming up at halftime with the gang, and they'll update all of the scores and highlights from around the NFL. Two minutes to go in the first half. Cleveland trailing by 14, a first down at the 42-yard line of the Redskins. And they continue to go with Kevin Mack, and he continues to churn yardage against the Redskins.
No, they have a curious back set. Leroy Horde comes up as a flanker, and he's a lead back. He's about 5'9", about 230 pounds, doing an outstanding job of being a lead blocker for Kevin Mack here.
Hurry up offense, gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Kevin Mack. He was one of the backs kept in for protection. Nobody was coming. Slipped out to the right side and simply dropped it. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Bill Belichick, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
That's actually a pretty big drop because now they have to make the decision on 3rd and 1 whether or not to get the first down by running or take another chance and throw downfield because of the time factor. If he comes up with this ball, of course, it's first down and they can go with the hurry-up offense, but now they have to decide whether or not to get the first down right now.
Mack at this point has 47 yards receiving and 35 yards rushing. The give is to Joe Morris. Fresh legs. He picks up the first down. Around the 23-yard line, Hogue and A.J. Anthony Johnson make the tackle for the Skins. And now they'll stop the clock. 1:21 is the time remaining in the first half. Well, the NBA season is not that far away, and next Saturday, McDonald's Open here on NBC at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And the game will be in Paris. We, of course, are not invited. I wish that we were.
I mean, they're in Paris and we're in Indianapolis.
NBC Sports travels to Paris for the McDonald's Open. Magic Johnson and the Lakers will represent the United States in this international tournament that also features top teams from Yugoslavia, Spain, and France. And what about the team from Yugoslavia?
Well, I think that's going to be interesting. Certainly, there's some political overtones. You know, the ramifications of the freedom marches that have been occurring in both Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union. I think that the particular teams from those locales are going to be decimated because they're from different states. You know, they're different quadrants of the country. So it'll be interesting to see what type of teams are fielded by both the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia.
Morris and Metcalf are the running backs. It's a screen. He had to get rid of it in a hurry. It is Metcalf to the 10, Metcalf to the 5, and he is down around the 1-yard line. And the Redskins are saying there was a fumble and that they have the ball. And if he fumbled in the field of play and the ball went through the corner of the end zone and then out of bounds, then it will go over to the Redskins at the 20-yard line.
Now, Webster Slaughter's complaining that the ball went out of bounds. Excellent play and a nice job by Bernie Kozo to get the ball off. But what they're saying is that the ball was fumbled out of the end zone. You can see the motion there.
They're calling it touchback.
It's a touchback, and the Redskins will have the ball. This is really unfortunate for Metcalf because he's having a good day. Right there, Wilbur Marshall comes across, strips the ball, and where does it go? Does it go out of bounds? Oh, no,
wait a minute.
no.
It hits the pylon.
That hits the pylon. That's out of bounds on the 1-yard line.
Let's review this.
This
is what instant replay is all about.
This is out of bounds on the 1-yard line. This should be Cleveland's ball. Watch where the ball goes through. Now watch where it goes. It hits the pylon
and ricochets
and
off of it.
Stays in the field of play.
Does not go into the end zone. They've got to review it. They've got to stop the Skins, and they do.
Yes. That's good.
Yes. Now they've called down to stop it. We need a reversal here.
The ball has to go out of the end zone for it to be a touchback. It goes out in the field of play. This should be Cleveland's ball.
After further review, the play will stand as called.
Oh, no. That's a horrendous mistake.
That's the second time that we've seen that this year on those calls that should definitely be overturned. And if they're not going to overturn them, then they should get rid of instant replay.
Well, now, I'm all for the fact that you want to expedite instant replay and you don't want the fans to wait. But right there, you can see that's in the field of play. It hits the pylon and stays out of bounds.
Yeah, never gets into the end zone.
That's a horrendous mistake. Belichick is smart right here, asking for the timeout.
Yes.
Now he wants him to review it again. That's a heads-up job by the head coach to know that.
Now, the question is whether or not the replay official, who is Tom Kelleher, will take the time to do this.
Now, it's interesting. There he says to Bernie, he says, Bernie, you go out on the field and ask him to review it again.
Because he's the captain and he can go out and make that request.
There's no way they could have made that decision in that short of a period of time.
No. The replay booth is telling us that the pylon is out of bounds in the end zone. And therefore it is considered that it touched the end zone. It's out of bounds in the end zone. But it never did get into the end zone.
It never got into the end zone.
It hit the pylon on the play side of it, field side of it.
And how many times have you seen a player step on the pylon right there? If he steps on the pylon right here with the ball and steps on the pylon, he's out of bounds. That's not a touchdown. No. Now all of a sudden, because the ball is loose and it hits the pylon, that's a touchback? There's no way.
Can't be.
No.
And we are getting another ruling from the replay officials that the pylon is in the end zone, and if it touches the pylon, the ball is considered in the end zone. Therefore, it is a correct call. And here comes Ernest Biner.
Well, the pylon is part of the end zone, then why is it the number of times the pylon is out? Right there, that's heading out of bounds. The ball is going to be out of bounds even if it hits the pylon. If we can back that up, the ball is heading out of bounds.
Yeah, they have run a play, of course, so that makes any correction null and void. Rob Burnett is the injured Brown, yeah.
I understand the concept of the pylon, but where is the ball headed? Right there, that's out of bounds before it even hits the pylon. It actually hits the white before it. Watch where the ball is, slowly. See, where's that? Right there, that's out of bounds. That is out of bounds.
That, by the way, is only the 4th turnover all year for the Cleveland Browns, against 46 last year. And Burnett, meanwhile, is being assisted from the field. 56 seconds time remaining in the first half. And Cleveland within inches of pulling within a touchdown of the Redskins. Washington now controls at their own 31-yard line. First down with 56 seconds left to go in the second quarter.
That may be only the 4th turnover, but I can't imagine one that is quite as costly. That could have got them right back in this game.
And would have given great momentum going into halftime. Rather than now it's a complete downer going into halftime. Whitman with the screen. And Biner back out to the 32, maybe the 33-yard line. Short yardage, it'll be second down.
Nice job by James Jones of the Browns running Biner down from behind.
Now the Redskins in a hurry-up offense. And here is Gerald Riggs with the draw. And I'm not sure why you hurry up your offense to run a draw. And now the Redskins will take the countdown to the half. The score is Washington 21 and Cleveland 7. Interesting first half, particularly for the Browns standpoint, because they have been weak in the first half, strong in the second half. Let's see if that happens today. We'll be back in a moment. At halftime, the Washington Redskins 21, the Cleveland Browns 7. And we'll take another look at the fumble.
Does the ball go out of bounds before it hits the pylon? That's the question. Right there, you see it's going to hit chalk. Right there, it's out of bounds. That should be Cleveland's ball. And this is Bill Belichick's reaction, one that was not too terribly pleasant when he found out that they called it a touchback.
And when he ran off the field at halftime, you were reading his lips. He was hollering for Tom. He was hollering for Tom Dooley, who is the referee.
Yeah, it's a little bit too late for that. And interestingly enough, if you look statistically, things are fairly even. Of course, that one turnover is awfully huge, but the score's 21-7.
Coors Light halftime stats.
Time of possession there is a little bit of an issue as well. Washington's been able to keep it about 3.5 minutes longer, and as a result, they're able to forge a 14-point lead.
Redskins 21, Browns 7. And Eric Metcalf at the 2-yard line, out to the 10, 15. Easy return about the 21-yard line, but he is stripped of the ball. They're saying it is down. Anthony Johnson came up with the football, but the official saying that the ball is down at the 21-yard line.
Well, it wasn't so much that Metcalf was down, but they're going to say his forward progress was stopped. That's a heads-up play there by Johnson. Was his forward progress stopped? Cuts up the field. Now right here they're going to say, okay, he's down. Now watch 47 come into the picture right there and take the ball away. Heads-up play, because sometimes you can get away with it, but it was a good call, I think, by the head linesman to say that his forward progress was stopped.
And probably also saying at the same time that he had blown the whistle. Cleveland now starts at their own 21-yard line, trailing by 14 points, 21-7 as we open the second half. And Kozar comes out throwing. Good protection. Now he'll go down. He's sacked at the 12-yard line. He's going to lose 9. It'll be second and 19. Fred Stokes and Eric Williams got him. Stokes, of course, starting, replacing Marcus Cook, who is out with that knee problem for 4 to 6 weeks. Second sack of Kozar.
Well, Freddie Stokes will come from the right of your screen, number 60. He cuts underneath, rolls with the spin move, and right there's no place for him to go. As you mentioned, he's starting now because of the broken leg. They feel that he's more effective as just a third down pass rusher, but because of injuries, he's had to play every down thus far. He has 5.5 sacks heading into this game, and on the other side, you've got Charles Mann with 6. So they're doing a nice job of rushing the passer.
Second down. Here's the screen to Kevin Mack, and the Redskins are there. They were first in the face of Kozar, and then Wilbur Marshall saturated the screen.
Wilbur Marshall did a nice job of reading that. Twice now they've run that screen for big yardage, but to the right of your screen you're going to see 58 is going to go right into Kevin Mack. He is able to avoid the block, trip him up, and then the pursuit comes after him. Wilbur Marshall is having a terrific season. He has 50 tackles now, 4 for loss. He leads the club in that department. And, you know, when they got him as a free agent in 1988, many people felt like, how could you justify 2 first-round picks for this guy? But Richie Pettibone has moved him to the strong side, and he has really flourished into that 4-3 defense of the Washington Redskins.
Richie told us yesterday that pass rush is the name of the game, and it certainly is here, and the pass is incomplete to Kevin Mack. It will be 4th down and 22 from the 9-yard line. And so the Redskins will start their first offensive thrust of the second half with excellent field position if they get any kind of return from Brian Mitchell, and he leads the NFL in this category. Brian Hansen, who threw the touchdown pass to Webster Slaughter the first half off of the fake, is the kicker. And he's the holder on field goal attempts and extra points. And Mitchell takes it at the 49. And he returns to the 34. And a slugfest is going on at the 31-yard line. There are a couple of wild swings, 41 yards in the kick, 16 yards on the return. And the Redskins set up shop at the 34-yard line.
That's a very impressive statistic. That means that he had to average for his 4 years. That means he averaged like 1,250 yards a rush, but also threw for around 800 yards as a quarterback at Southwestern Louisiana. Took a chance on him in the 5th round as a great athlete. He's turned out to be the premier punt returner in the National Football League. Brian Mitchell giving the Redskins terrific field position on the 34.
Gerald Riggs is the running back. Middleton in motion, and here is the reverse to Clark. And that's the 3rd time they've run the reverse in the ballgame.
Right there has been the least effective. I don't think they gained anything. Nice pursuit there by the strong safety for the Browns, Barnett rather.
They'll lose about half a yard. It'll still be 2nd down and 10.
One of the problems in the Cleveland Browns secondary is the number of people that have been injured. To start the season, Thane Gash was pinned in as the starting strong safety. Lost for the season with a neck. Raven Claiborne, of course, the starting corner, broke a leg. Eric Turner on injury reserve. They hope to get him back, the number 2 pick in the draft. And the Achilles of Mark Harper has sidelined him for the year.
Here comes Monk in motion. And it is incomplete. Clark, the intended receiver, and he was hit by Braggs. And it'll be 3rd down and 10. We'll take another look.
Nice job by Stephen Braggs here. He hits him right at the point of contact where the ball hits his hands. Braggs right here looking at his eyes. Now he cuts back. Now watch when he catches the ball. That's right when Braggs hits him. Bang. Not able to retrieve it. A lot of times that's the only chance the cornerbacks have of making the play. And Braggs with his Star Patrol helmet right there. A nice job on Clark.
3rd down. Report on Viner, we mentioned that bruised right hand in the first half. He was out, he came back. It is now a badly bruised right hand, doubtful that he will return. Whippen goes deep to Monk, and he overthrows him. It'll be 4th down.
Good coverage by Tony Blaylock. Where you see his hand all taped up, that means that Joe Riggs is going to get the bulk of the work. And, of course, we'll also get a chance to see a rookie who Joe Gibbs told us he really likes, a young man from SC by the name of Ricky Irvins. Now the bad half's work there, 65 yards in one half. The bulk of it coming on that touchdown run.
And now a 52-yard field goal attempt by Chip Lohmiller. And that's in his range, but not today. That's going to come up short. So Lohmiller comes up short from 52 yards away. We'll take a timeout. Cleveland has the ball. They trail 21-7.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. By U.S. Air. Every time we fly, everything we do, U.S. Air begins with you. By Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. And by Hertz. We never forget who made us number one. We're Hertz. We're America's wheels.
Cleveland from their own 35-yard line. That was the line of scrimmage on the field goal attempt that failed. And Kevin Mack pops through first down as he'll pick up 12 yards on the play. Copeland and Green with the tackle. And we saw a minute ago Chip Lohmiller missing from 52 yards away on the field goal attempt.
Well, earlier during practice, he told me that one of the things that he does is he goes out and he tries to impress the other kicker that he is the best on the field. This is in warm-ups. You saw that was from the 52-yard line. That was a 62-yard kick. And there he's saying to Wayne Sevier, listen, when we get a long field goal, give me a shot at it because I can make it. Well, they gave him a shot at 52, and unfortunately, he was well short.
Cleveland first down from the 47-yard line. Kozar drills this one over the middle to Langhorne. And all of a sudden, the Browns' offense is up and moving again.
Well, interestingly enough, heading into this game, the Washington Redskins had the top-rated defense against the pass in the National Football League, only giving up 139 yards. But Bernie Kosar is having an excellent day passing the football. Gain
of 28 yards on the play at the Washington 26-yard line. First down, Cleveland. So back-to-back first downs from the Cleveland 35 following the short field goal attempt.
Bernie now is 12 for 15 for 169 yards.
There's nothing there for Kevin Mack. Tim Johnson got it. It'll be second down.
Heading into the game, Bernie Kosar was one of the highest-rated quarterbacks in the league. You can see right there, third in the quarterback rating. A lot of that sometimes can be deceptive because Bernie has not thrown many interceptions. He does have a high completion percentage of around 61, but he has not thrown too many balls downfield until today.
Only starting quarterback in the NFL with no interceptions. He has not been intercepted today. Drops this one off. He goes to John Talley. Talley activated for this ball game. Martin Mayhew with the tackle.
Well, that's got to feel good. John Talley had a bacterial infection and lost some 20, 30 pounds. And, you know, normally when you come off injured reserve, you're coming off of a hamstring or something like that. That has to feel really good to John Talley. Plus the fact that since Ozzie Newsome's retired, they don't exactly throw to the tight end. So that young man from West Virginia, that was a real boon to his confidence right there, that one catch.
And the first down at the 12-yard line. 10 minutes, time remaining. We're in the third quarter. Cleveland down by 2 touchdowns. Mack has a couple of yards, maybe 3. Let's see where they spot it. Danny Copeland was there for the Skins.
Danny Copeland
at the 8, it'll go for 4, so it's going to be second and 7.
And Danny Copeland paid the price for meeting Kevin Mack head on. You can see him right laying down, trying to restore his faculties.
So we've got an injury timeout. We'll step away for a moment. 21-7 Redskins.
Danny Copeland injured on the play. As we mentioned, tough going when you have to meet 230-pound Kevin Mack in the middle. Watch the helmet right here hit the knee. And then from the side, you'll see that Eric Williams comes over and hits him on the hand. And so he had a double dose as he was laying down. His trainers are looking at his knee and his hand, but he got up and bounced up, so I guess he's going to be all right. Former Plan B free agent from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Meanwhile, a quick defensive injury report on the Cleveland Browns. Rob Burnett pulled calf, doubtful to return. Randy Hilliard, a groin pull, doubtful that he will return. 8-yard line, second down and 6. Loss of a yard. Kevin Mack is stacked by Kurt Gavea.
I don't understand why they're going to do this on second down. Give yourself 2 chances to get it in the end zone. By going up the middle, you're in effect saying that we're not that creative. The Washington Redskins are able to read it, and you know that they're going to be tough inside here. Now you've only given yourself 1 chance to throw the ball into the end zone, and they're going to be forced to kick the field goal if they can't get it.
You can't say that they haven't been creative.
Oh, no.
They've been very creative, just maybe not on that play.
That's right. I'm just saying that in this particular situation, you needed to throw the ball on second down.
Now they show 4 wide receivers.
This is for naught. It's a forward pass. Now, if you want to go back to the old days, which I know you do from time to time, this is what's known as the Utah pass.
Meanwhile, Andre Collins wants to make sure that he's at the far end zone. And I don't blame you. You get that far, you might as well in case they change their mind.
Both the Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos have made this in vogue in the 70s and 80s. This is called the shovel pass. Kevin Mack comes underneath. Looks like an option pass, but of course that's going forward. Charles Mann wasn't fooled.
Charles Mann was waiting for him. No wonder he couldn't catch it.
But because it was forward, Mack didn't come up with it. It was a good call by the official. It is an incomplete pass.
So the 26-yard field goal attempt by Matt Stover. And he's got it. So Stover hits from 26 yards away, and it's a 21-10 game. Now this is on videotape as we come back. Bill Belichick, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I'm wondering, still not arguing his case over the fumble near the end of the first half, which hit the pylon and was ruled a touchback.
I think what he was talking about there when Tom Dooley was making the motion of pushing up the clock, he was complaining about the fact that Cleveland had to hurry to the line of scrimmage.
Here's an onside kick. He's just a little short with trying to catch it in the air if somebody was down quick enough, and went about 4 or 5 yards too long. So we have seen a little bit of everything from the Cleveland Browns. We saw an unsuccessful onside kick in the first half, and this is one where you just pooch it in the air and try and have one of your speedsters run under it. But Figueroa tried to get there, did not get there in time. He's not that quick.
Well, this is actually a nice catch, too, by Kurt Gavea, a linebacker. This isn't exactly his thing, and he could have waved off and called a fair catch, but he does a nice job, and it wasn't quite high enough. You're right. The idea was for the onside kick, but Gavea made a nice play.
The Washington starts at their own 37-yard line, first down. And Gerald Riggs gets a call. Ball comes loose, and it is picked up by Cleveland, and scooting for the end zone is Vince Newsom. And it is going to be ruled a fumble and a Cleveland touchdown.
Well, Gerald Riggs, the 12th all-time leading rusher of the National Football League, after that touchdown that he had earlier, this is his first carry in replacing Biner. Not a good one for the Washington Redskins. You could argue here, is his forward progress stopped? Just like in the situation with Metcalf earlier in the half, Clay Matthews, just as he goes down, the ball comes loose. And Vince Newsom, the Plan B free agent from the Los Angeles Rams, picks it up and goes the distance. Nice block there by Blaylock on Rippon.
33 yards on the recovery. The extra point is good, and suddenly it's 21-17. We'll be back in a moment.
The question here is whether or not his forward motion is stopped. Clay Matthews plays off the block. Now he's going to strip the ball, but he's struggling, trying to get the extra yardage. So the forward motion is such that it is not stopped. So it is a good call by the official. They didn't review it. Newsom goes the distance, and now we have a whole new ball game.
The score is Washington 21 and Cleveland 17. Mitchell and Irvins are set for the return, and this time Stover goes deep. And is taken at the 8-yard line by the rookie Ricky Irvin. And he pops it at the far side. He's to the 50. He returns to the 45-yard line of Cleveland. 47 yards on the return, and the kicker, Matt Stover, got it. This is a young man that Joe Gibbs said, as soon as he learns our scheme and starts playing, people are going to say, why in the world didn't he play him sooner?
2 years ago when he was at SC, he was a Rose Bowl MVP. Last year, He got hurt. He didn't have as good a season as he would have liked, and everybody wondered whether or not Ricky Irvins was going to make it in the pros. Looked pretty good on that play. Looks like he belongs.
Has to be good. Went to SC. Where's OJ's number? 46-yard line. Here's Riggs to the right side. There's nothing there. And he's wrestled out of bounds.
The crowd's really giving it to Riggs here. First, his second carry following the touchdown, he fumbles. Now Ricky Irvins comes into the game and they give him a cheer. This is tough on Gerald Riggs, a man who has been to the Pro Bowl a couple of times, 1,000-yard rusher for the Atlanta Falcons. This really isn't fair. I know it's a tough break to have the fumble. But to have to hear the boo birds like that, that's really unjust.
3 wide receivers for the Skins. Check it down.
Too early to talk about the movie A Star is Born, but Ricky Irvins 2 times touching the ball has looked awfully good. Nice hesitation there, and at 5'7", he's tough to see from the defensive backs and the linebackers. You know, Hank Stram during his era with the Kansas City Chiefs loved to have small backs like that because the people in the secondary couldn't see them. That's an advantage that Irvins has, being behind that big offensive front of the Redskins.
They mark it at the 31-yard line, first down Washington. Griffin throws wobbly, but on target to Clark, and he is ridden out of bounds. A gain of 15 yards on the play. And the Skins continue to roll up the first downs. Blaylock got it.
Tony Blaylock played way too far out there. You can see he's still backpedaling, and that gives Clark the room to get way more yardage than he should have. That was a standard 6-7-yard route, but because Blaylock was too far back, Clark was able to make it into a big play.
The ball at the Cleveland 16-yard line. Redskins now with 16 first downs in the ballgame. And they show 3 wide receivers in the set. The posse is there. And Irvin just squirts through to the 12. Let's go to New York City now for an update. Here's Bob Costas.
Charlie, with Jim Kelly having been hit late in the first half, sidelined because he was woozy, it's a good second-half workout for Frank Reich. Here he drills the 11-yarder to James Lofton for a touchdown. Every time Buffalo has started an offensive drive, they've scored a touchdown against the Colts, and they lead 35-6.
Thank you, Bob. And when you think of Buffalo and you think of the top teams in the NFL, you have to include the Washington Redskins among them. And right now, they've got their hands full with the Cleveland Browns. 2nd and 6. And here's Irvins around the corner, turns it, touchdown. The rookie taken in the 3rd round of the draft, Ricky Irvins, scores a touchdown. Bo Miller adds the point after. 46 yards in 5 plays, and it was Irvins who set it up with the kickoff return.
Here's the advantage of the low center of gravity. Watch when he cuts to the outside. Nice block there. Now watch how much room he has for the sidelines. He's able to turn it upfield right there and get into the end zone. A taller back would not be able to do that. Ricky Irvins, in the 3 times he's touched the ball today, Joe Gibbs mentioned the fact that he says when he finally does get in the lineup, everybody's going to get on me because of the fact that I haven't played him sooner, because this kid can really play, but he doesn't quite know the offense. I'd say he looks like he knows the offense pretty well to me.
Now let's check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. New Orleans leading Philadelphia by 4. Buffalo, as Bob Costas gave us that update, out in front of the Colts 35-6. Dallas leading Cincinnati by 1 in the 3rd. Minnesota still shutting out Phoenix. And here with 5:09 time remaining 3rd quarter, it's Washington 28, and Cleveland 17. By the way, the first point scored off of Cleveland this year in the third quarter. That touchdown by Ricky Irvin. So the Redskins have spread it around. Touchdowns by Art Monk, Gerald Riggs, Ernest Biner, and Ricky Irvin. For the Browns, Webster Slaughter and Vince Newsom have the touchdowns, and Stover has the field goal, and here we go again. And the crowd is in it really for the first time in the ball game, as Lohmiller sends Metcalf to the back edge of the end zone. Now this is the Redskins crowd that you grow to love and enjoy when a ball game is played here.
Watch here on the replay, number 87, Ron Middleton, a former Cleveland Brown, come out on Tony Blaylock. Punishing block, puts him to the turf, and that enables Irvins to get around the corner and score. The Washington Redskins have done an outstanding job of making use of ex-Cleveland Browns. Not only Ron Middleton, the tight end, but the safety Danny Copeland had a little time with the Cleveland Browns, as did reserve guard Ralph Tam, and of course you already know about Ernest Biner.
Joe Morris, no gain. He'll lose a yard to the 19. It's going to be second down and 11. Tim Johnson got it. The Redskins with an open date next weekend. Cleveland will be on the road again at San Diego.
A lot of the concern was because of the open date, they felt like the Redskins might be a little bit flat, anticipating a vacation and having the big 3-game lead in the NFC East, but they certainly haven't been flat today.
Kozar, little swing left side to Morris after everybody was covered downfield. He's going to pick up about 3, and that is it. And it'll be third down and 8.
Good open field tackle by Monty Coleman, who's getting in a jawing match there with Joe Morris, but you can see by the smile on his face, he knows who's up on the score. You mentioned earlier, a 13-year veteran, still at age 34, able to cover those backs coming out of the backfield.
3 minutes, 50 seconds and counting, time remaining third quarter. Kozar has completed 14 of 18 for 195 yards.
Is not the quarterback you're going to want in terms of a clinic. You'll see that Langhorne is able to get to the middle of the field and find the dead spot in the zone. Kozar throws it sidearm, but gets it in there. Nice diving catch by Langhorne, who earlier in the season has had some problems with Belichick. Watch the sidearm motion. Look at that. That's not how you teach it, but what difference does it make? It gets it done, and now he's over 200 yards passing for the day.
Meanwhile, back at the 15-yard line, that is Fred Stokes of the Redskins is the injured player that they're working on. And while we have this injury timeout, for an update, let's go to New York and Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, Charlie, Cincinnati trying to come back at Dallas. Here is Harold Green, second-year man out of South Carolina, with a great change of directions, and he weaves his way 75 yards for a touchdown. Moments later, Jim Breach connects from 24 yards out, and late in the third quarter, Dallas's lead is trimmed to 1, 21-20 over the Bengals. Back to RFK.
3 minutes and 11 seconds time remaining here in the third quarter at RFK Stadium. Jack Kent Cooke, who is, of course, as you know, the owner of the Washington Redskins. It's been an exciting afternoon for him. And also for Art Modell. And if you know Art and you have a chance to watch him during the game, he is up at that, very animated, very involved. First down, Cleveland, the ball on their own 38-yard line. Inside is the motion man. Morris, is nothing there. It'll be second down and 10. The ball at the 38-yard line. Again, it was Eric Williams in the middle of the defense for the Redskins who made the stop.
I wonder if Kevin Mack got hurt earlier because he was running very effectively, but they don't have him in the lineup right now.
Stokes is back in defensively. Second down and 10. Morris, the remaining back. Morris gets the call, and there's still nothing there. It'll be third down and 10. Tim Johnson with the tackle, and as innovative as the Cleveland Browns have been at certain times in the ballgame, I'm not sure I understand these last two calls.
Well, maybe it has something to do with the fact that, 5 years ago, Joe Morris had probably his best day here at RFK. He went for over 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this is a man who, with the Giants was an all-pro player. But, he's been struggling a little bit today. And as I say, I'm very surprised that he's in there instead of Kevin Mack, because early in the third quarter it was Kevin Mack who had the hot hand.
Now it is Morris and Leroy Horde who are there as Kozar steps back in the shotgun. Third and long. A beautiful comeback pattern by Michael Jackson that Kozar threw 5 yards before Jackson made his break on the comeback. Perfect timing, perfect spot. This youngster's really looked good today. First down, gain of 12.
We chatted with Bill Belichick yesterday. I mentioned, what can you do to get this young man some confidence? Because last week against the Jets, he dropped a big 35-yarder that would have set him up for the winning field goal. Right there on a third down clutch play, he's able to slide back and make a very nice catch.
And Kevin Mack is back into that offensive set.
Michael Jackson was referred to the Browns. He was scouted and touted very highly by none other than Ozzie Newsome, who I guess should know a little something about pass catching.
Bernie wanted to go deep, and the protection was not there. And he had Jackson deep on the right side, Slaughter deep on the left side, but he simply ran out of time. And now let's check the Hurts 10-minute ticker. New Orleans up on Philadelphia by 4. Buffalo running away from Indianapolis. Cincinnati in front of Dallas in that seesaw battle. Minnesota continues to shut out Phoenix. These all the early games. Here it is Washington 28 and Cleveland 17 with 27 seconds and counting time remaining in the third quarter. Second and 13. And Metcalf loses his footing as he made his cut back at the 45-yard line, and Fred Stokes was there to cover him. And we'll take the countdown to the end of the third quarter. With the score, Washington 28, Cleveland 17. Back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to the ball game. You're looking at Clay Matthews, and also up here with us we have a note in the National Football League that this is the Cleveland Browns, the only helmet without a decal on it, and between Clay Matthews and the helmet, therein lies a tale.
Well, when we were in the Pro Bowl together 5 years ago, they have a tradition of trading helmets, but Clay Matthews was standing there with his helmet, and nobody would trade with him. So I took pity on him and gave him the silver and black helmet, and he gave me this one. It's on the mantle.
Don't you love it? You said he looked so forlorn standing there in front of his locker after the game, holding his helmet, and nobody would come over.
Looked like an orphan.
Third and 16. Flag is down. Kozar throws. The pass is complete. It is shy of the first down by about 5 yards, but we'll go back and check out the flag.
I think Tom Dooley caught Tony Jones with the hold. Just an addendum to that story right after this.
We have tripping, number 66 offense. It will be third down again.
Interesting if they take the call here, because that would have been fourth down on the 45-yard line. They have a lot of confidence in their defense. Left tackle Tony Jones, you're going to see, comes in. He falls down, and as he falls down, he trips Jumpy Gaithers. Tom Dooley was able to see it.
So the ball goes back to the 35-yard line of Cleveland. The down goes over. It is third and 26. And here's the draw to Kevin Mack. Mack jumps to the slips another tackle. And he goes down around the 47-yard line. So he gets about 12 of it back. And now will be fourth down.
Charlie, a footnote to that Clay Matthews story is the fact that Clay Matthews, now I mentioned that he and I were playing together 5 years ago in the Pro Bowl. This is the oldest linebacker in the league. And what's also impressive about that is he plays outside. There are a lot of older middle backers, but Clay Matthews now at 35 years and 8 months is still continuing to do it. And you asked him about what was going to happen in his post-playing day.
Life after football. And he said, I hope I can find something that I have a passion for, like I have a passion for football.
And old cars. Had that 74 Capri, it ran down, and so here's this guy making thousands of dollars, and what's the car he buys? A 66 Mustang for $1,500.
But he had to tow to the body shop, it wouldn't even run. Fair catch is taken by Brian Mitchell. 33 yards on the kick. And coming up next on most of these NBC stations is Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins take on the Kansas City Chiefs in a rematch of last year's thrilling playoff game. Others will see Warren Moon and the Central leading Houston Oilers take on the Jets' Blair Thomas, and the conference second-ranked rushing attack or the Chargers battle the Rams. So check your local listings for the games. And right now, NBC Sports would like to take this moment to extend our condolences to the family of longtime NFL referee Gene Barth, who passed away Friday after a lengthy illness. He will be missed. Rippon comes out throwing to Ricky Sanders. The pass is complete. Van Waiters makes the tackle. Caught the ball at the 27-yard line, so it's going to be second down and 3.
When we talked with Rippon yesterday, he didn't seem to be bothered by the fact that he was feeling the heat from the press and criticism of the fact that, hey, he is the weak link of the Washington Redskins. I don't think 15 for 20 is any weak link at all. I certainly think Mark Rippon's paper will take the Redskins as far as they want to go.
And when you ask me about last week's game against the Bears, should it turn point? It could be. It could be. This one could also be. And here's a young man that could turn everything around. Ricky Irvin. He's taking the spotlight away from Art Monk, and that's hard to do.
I had dinner Friday night with Matt Millen, and when I was asking about some of the players, he says, you got to watch out for this kid, number 32. He really can play. And, of course, I said, well, wait a minute. He hasn't done anything. What are you talking about? He says, believe me, in practice, he makes the catches, he makes the cuts. He is going to be, in his words, a stud bolt. That's the word that Matt Millen used. And so far today, Ricky Irvin has been exactly that, a stud bolt.
I like that. First down, the 35-yard line, 3 wide receivers in. And here is Irvin. Oh, he brings some excitement, doesn't he? 6 yards.
Well, what's impressive to me about these last 2 runs by Irvin is his vision. He runs close to the ground, but he also sees the holes. A lot of times backs like that hesitate and they make too many moves in the hole and they don't run north and south. But Irvin's isn't like that. At 5'7", 200 pounds, not only with a low center of gravity and the quickness, but he has some very real speed too.
Richard Brown and Clay Matthews make the tackle. Irvin's again, first down. He goes to the 50, the 49-yard line of Cleveland. He picks up 10 yards on the play and the first down.
It's interesting that when you look at Ricky Irvin, you think to yourself, this is reminiscent, of course, because we're really involved in baseball right now. It's a little bit like pitchers. You start with Ernest Biner, who's a tough guy, who runs hard, has a little bit of quickness. Then you got the power back in Gerald Riggs, who comes in and beats you up. And now, the third time is a change of pace. You got the speedster with the quickness of Ricky Irvin.
What's with you guys up
totally
here?
back
And of course, another thing that Irvin is doing is that they continue to run time off the clock to shorten the game. This time he is taken out of bounds at the 45-yard line. That'll stop the clock for a moment at least. A gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6. And Vince Newsom, who scored the touchdown on the fumble return, is the man who took him out. A look at the 10-minute ticker. New Orleans up by 4 over the Eagles. Buffalo 42-6 over the Colts. Dallas now leading Cincinnati 28-23. And Minnesota continued to shut out Phoenix. And here is Washington 28, Cleveland 17 in the fourth quarter with 10:49 left to go.
The thing is that more than likely, because of the danger to his neck, they'll probably charge us as 15 yards. But waiters, it wasn't intentional.
Foul, 15-yard face mask. Number 50 defense. First down.
Watch how dramatically the head turns around in the case of Ricky Irvins. Ouch. That's where you want to sprint to the chiropractor after that one. That can be painful on the neck, but didn't seem to bother Ricky Irvins much. He bounced up and said, okay, give me the ball again.
He's got a young neck. And the ball is at the 30-yard line of Cleveland. First down. 10:25 and counting. Time remaining in the ball game. Three wide receivers. Irvin's the remaining back. Target to Art Monk.
He fumbles it out of bounds, but they maintain possession.
Let's take another look.
Well, it's another hitch route. Makes the catch, cuts up field. Braggs does a nice job of stripping the ball, but he's run out of field there, so the Redskins will maintain possession. Art Monk, one of the many veterans that they have on the Washington Redskins team. Now, this is a team that knows how to win. They have 13 players over the age of 30, and only 2 rookies. One of those rookies making quite an impact right now, that being Ricky Irvin.
End zone, and it is incomplete. Excellent defensive play by Frank Minifield. Gary Clark, the intended receiver, and Minifield screened him beautifully.
Actually, Gary Clark ends up being the defender here because Minifield had it all the way. He had an interception. Watch as Gary Clark is the one who ends up going over the top to strip the ball from Frank Minifield. One of the few bad passes that Mark Rippon has thrown today.
So bring the ball back to the 25-yard line. The Browns have intercepted only 2 passes all year. Meanwhile, the Redskins have intercepted 13, but none today. And it's 3rd down and 5 at the 25. Goes to the end zone on the other side, and they're going to call pass interference on Stephen Braggs. Clark, the intended receiver.
Yeah, that flag was awfully soon. I wonder if it might not just be illegal contact. Plus, you have to ask the question. I think that's what they're huddling about right now, is whether or not the ball was catchable. That's what they're all talking about.
Number 98 is the back judge, Bill Levette.
Defense in the end zone. First down on the 1-yard line.
First and goal at the 1-yard line.
Actually, pretty good coverage. You'll see right here, Braggs is running. Now, he needs to look back.
I'm not all.
No, I don't like that.
I don't like that. He looks back. He's got an equal opportunity to the ball.
Absolutely. He looks back for the ball. Sure, he has his hand on it, but there's no way that's interference. Clark actually does a pretty good job of falling down and acting a little bit.
Cleveland 9 penalties, 93 yards. I'm not sure the officiating has been as crisp as we would like it to be. The ball at the 1-yard line, first down and goal to go. And Gerald Riggs is turned away. In fact, he may lose a yard on the play.
As good as
second down and goal to go.
I was about to say, as good a day as it's been for Rippon, Monk, and Irvins. That's how bad a day it's been for Gerald Riggs. Gerald Riggs is a veteran. He's over 30 years of age. He's one of those people that understands. They do a nice job here of plugging the hole. Richard Brown up there to make the stop. But he hears the boo birds here from the Washington faithful. And that's got to be tough on you, whether you're a veteran player or not. But if he gets in the end zone, he'll hear some cheers.
Second and goal. Riggs tries the right side. And he is stopped again. It'll be third down and goal to go.
You know what I like about this, Charlie? I like the fact that the Cleveland Browns have really, hung tough here. It could have been very easy after that interference penalty, after playing some reasonable defense inside the 20, to just say, okay, well, forget it, and fold up the tent and go home. Instead, they put on a pretty good goal line stand against Riggs in the front line of the Washington Redskins. Shows a lot of character on the part of the young Browns, particularly one that on defense has been decimated by injury.
Time remaining 8:16 and counting in the ballgame. yards on that drive in 10 plays, and it took 5:45 off of the clock, and the extra point is good. The score, 35-17.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Honda, who puts a driver's airbag on every new Accord, Civic, and Prelude and urges you to buckle up. By John Newbean and Company, quality tax-free investment since 1898. By Canon Bubble Jet Personal Printers, laser quality at dot matrix prices. And by Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows.
Miller kicking off. Metcalf takes it at the goal line. He's to the 10, 15. And is dropped at the 20-yard line. So he has 20 yards on the return. Terry Hogue made the tackle.
A lot of times you can't really describe as to why you're successful, but Joe Gibbs had this quote. He says, we've got a group of unselfish players who have put the team first. He doesn't want to be compared with the 82 and 83 Super Bowl teams, but he does say this about this group, that it is a veteran group who knows how to win. And he said it's one of probably the best prepared team he's been around and probably the smartest. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the fact that he has so many veteran players, as I mentioned earlier, 13 over the age of 30.
Cleveland from their own 20-yard line, now trailing 35-17. 8 minutes exactly left to go. Kozar sprints out right, wants to go deep. Excellent downfield coverage. He was looking for Michael Jackson, and he was drawing deep double coverage, and Charles Mann got it. That is the 4th sack of Kozar.
Charles Mann actually got cut down at the line of scrimmage with a moving pocket. He was able to bounce up, as you mentioned. The downfield coverage was too good. He was able to get the sack.
And here come the Browns again from the 16-yard line. And Kevin Mack. And he'll go out of bounds. And we'll check the 10-minute ticker. New Orleans by 4 over Philadelphia. Buffalo still big over Indianapolis. They're in the 4th. Dallas stretching a bit of a lead on Cincinnati, 28-23. Minnesota continues to shut out Phoenix, and here it's Washington 35, Cleveland 17, with 7:15 time remaining in the ballgame. Kozar ducks it off underneath the coverage to Leroy Horde. And he's out to around the 32-yard line. Should be enough to pick up the first down. Monty Coleman was there to wrap him up. Now, we'll go back and replay the audio. Just listen to the hit. Up, we got to it before I could set it up, but that's all right. You got the idea. First down. Receivers. Kozar just kind of shot puts it up to Kevin Mack, and Mack will pick up the first down. And Kozar comes up limping, but very creative at the last moment.
Well, it's amazing the number of times he does that. Certainly Bernie Kozar is not an athletic person like, say, a Steve Young or a Randall Cunningham, but look at him just getting rid of that, having that second sense, or fifth sense rather, to know that he's going to get sacked. He did that earlier, if you recall, on Metcalf's run that ended up being fumbled at the pylon. You can feel Wilbur Marshall coming from the back. How's he going to know whether he's there or that? The last one, he feels it, gets rid of it, and it's a first down for the Browns.
And we have a Brown injured player. We'll take a timeout and be back in a moment. As you saw when we went to commercial, Kevin Mack was the injured player. It looked like either an ankle or a hamstring. We'll try and get a report for you. Kozar's pass is complete as he goes to Brian Brennan. 49-yard line of Washington in the hurry-up offense. Second down and 3. Kozar now has completed 19 of 23 passes. Goes to Brennan again. Brian makes a nice move. He'll pick up the first down. 39-yard line, gain of 10 yards on the play.
Bernie did a nice job there. For some reason, the linebacker, Monty Coleman, didn't come out to cover him, and now he's not out there again. Brennan's by himself. It'll be interesting to see what Kozar does here.
He comes to him again. Coleman comes up. Darrell Green comes over the top.
In this particular defensive setup that the Redskins have going, they have Coleman in as their sixth defensive back, which means that he has to cover Brennan man for man. And as we mentioned earlier, they really love his coverage skills, but that's on running backs, not wide receivers.
Kozar goes to the other side into double coverage. Pass is incomplete to Reggie Langhorne. And it'll be 3rd down and 4 at the 33-yard line as Martin Mayhew and A.J. Anthony Johnson were there for the Redskins. 4 minutes and 37 seconds now the time remaining. With the score Washington 35 and Cleveland 17. And again, the Browns in their hurry-up offense. 3rd down and 4 at the Washington 33-yard line. Johnson a little bit upset himself that he didn't pick it off for the interception. Again, Kozar has not been intercepted this year. Brennan, the intended receiver here.
Bernie Kozar a little bit with happy feet here, trying at the last minute. He doesn't see Johnson there come in, and he was fortunate, but that one didn't come back to harm.
This is Kozar's 190th. He fumbles the ball. And the Redskins have it. To clear up that last number, Kozar now 189 pass attempts and no interception. But at the end of last week's game against the Jets, he got hit and fumbled the ball. And here he loses it again, this time to the Redskins, and Jumpy Gathers got it. We've got a timeout. Redskins 35, Browns 17. Welcome back to RFK Stadium, where we have 4:23 time remaining in the ball game, and right now it looks as if the Redskins record is going to go to 7-0, and the Browns record will go to 2-4. First down, ball just outside their own 43-yard line. And here's Ricky Irvin. And he'll pick up 2, maybe 3. Let's now go to our camcorder. Canon camcorder's replay of the game.
Well, we mentioned the first half that it was Art Monk's day. Here he goes to the corner for his 751st catch, a diving touchdown to go past Charlie Joyner and become the #2 receiver in NFL history. That is our Canon camcorder replay of the game.
And there is Art Monk. A timeout taken on the field, so the clock is stopped with 4:14. And we asked earlier, Art Monk, about catching Steve Largent.
It's a possibility. You know, he's a long ways off, and I'm not really thinking about that right now. I just want to, do the best I can and try to help this ball club win some games.
He's very low-key, as you can tell. One of the reasons I think that, and I mentioned this earlier, now here he is chasing Steve Largent with 819 receptions, so takes a little doing, but he could well get there.
Well, in a season and a half, that's only 64 catches, and if the rate he's going, he would have another 25, 30 catches at the end of the season, which means that in 1992, he'd probably have to catch about 40 balls, so certainly that's within Art Monk's range, particularly if he can stay healthy.
Cleveland takes another timeout. Irvin's on that last carry. Figueroa with the last tackle. And when you saw him on camera, you could tell that he is low-key. That's the reason I think that I alluded in the first half to the players-only meetings that the Redskins now hold at their hotel on Saturday nights, that he is the one who started it last December. And including today's game, the record could well be 11-2 since he started those meetings. And the other players said, when he said, we all listened. He's never been, he's never taken a demanding, big type of leadership role, but been a very quiet leadership role. And when he spoke at that meeting, he called the meeting, all of a sudden we all listened.
Well, in this day and age of self-promotion, Art, Monk is somebody who's very refreshing. He lets his deeds do the talking, and what's not to respect about that? After 756 hectares, I'd say that speaks volumes.
3rd down and 9. This time is going to be stopped around the 47 or 48-yard line. And a program note coming up next on most of these NBC stations. It's game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you to see Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins battle the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of last year's thrilling playoff game. Others to see Warren Moon and the Central-leading Houston Oilers take on the Jets' Blair Thomas. And the conference second-ranked rushing attack, or the Chargers battle the Rams on the West Coast. So check your local listings. Here the score is Washington 35, Cleveland 17, with 3:59 left to go, and Kelly Goodburn will be kicking for the Redskins.
On the second punt of the day for him, he's plagued by the same thing that Montgomery's plagued in Houston. Coming into this game, he only had 14 punts. So when you looked at the list and tried to find where Kelly Goodburn was in the ratings, he wasn't in there because he didn't have enough to qualify.
Eric Metcalf is the return man for the Browns. And he gets it off not that good a kick. And it'll go out of bounds around the 26 or the 27-yard line. Today's telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Washington Redskins and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, Cleveland Browns, and Washington Redskins, all rights reserved. So Cleveland with another opportunity from their own 26-yard line, 1st down. They set up with 4 wide receivers. They trail 35-17. Absolutely gorgeous day for football in the nation's capital. The temperature in the 60s. And they go underneath with the handoff to Joe Morris rather than throwing the ball. And you pick up about 4 yards to the 30, and it's going to be 2nd down and 6. And again, they continue to go with a no-huddle offense. This time the shotgun. We had a flag down and whistle sounding right at the snap. Could be a false start. I guess somebody for Cleveland.
That's actually a good look right there. James Gaithers is 6'7", 290 pounds.
Part of the snap, 69 on offense, false start.
Dan Pike.
2nd down.
And of course, Joe Morris is only 5'7", so that was a real shot of Mutt and Jeff there. I don't know what would happen if they ended up going with fisticuffs. Jim Lachey there to the right of your screen, right in the middle now, is the all-pro left tackle for the Washington Redskins. He has an interesting story with regards to the fact that he was playing with the San Diego Chargers when Charlie Joyner had his 750 catches. He also played in the game against Seattle when Largent caught his 751st to go past Joyner. Now here he is today with Monk catching his 751st. That's an interesting 3 games, and Lachey says, boy, it's great to be a part of history.
And Anthony Johnson makes the defensive play. Joe Morris. In reality, he was simply getting rid of the football, avoiding the loss, stopping the clock at 3:18, and it will be 4th down. And with the Redskins comfortably in front 35-17, their record should be at the end of the afternoon 7-0. And Super Bowl winners, the Giants in 1990, Bears in 85, Steelers in 78, Cowboys in 77, the Dolphins in 72. They all got off to 7-0 starts. Here's the kick by Hansen. And Mitchell takes it a fair catch at the 30-yard line. Earlier, we had a chance to talk with Matt Millen, and we asked him to compare his previous teams and the Redskins.
I think there are a lot of similarities, the passing games and running games and strong defenses. But I think the one thing that separates them all from other teams that I've been on has been their mental approach, because they just know they can get it done. And when you go out there thinking that, you generally make it happen.
His previous teams, of course,
well, he and I
the
were
Raiders and the 49ers, he has 3 Super Bowls.
That's right. He and I were teammates for 10 years with the Los Angeles Raiders. Take a look at that career record. As you mentioned, 3 Super Bowl rings. And I talked to him Friday night. I said, hey, Matt, you know, this is really unfair. Both you and I get cut by the Raiders prior to the '89 season. You go on, make $1 million with San Francisco, get a Super Bowl ring, and now you're on a team that's 7-0, and what happens to me? I go on and host a game show called American Gladiators, and I become Charlie Jones's 52nd partner. Sometimes life isn't fair.
Fair to you? What do you think it's doing to me?
In 12 years, Matt has never missed a game. And let me tell you something. He adds a lot to the locker room. He is something else. Although I must say he is some kind of eater. As well as that man right there at 6'7", 325 pounds.
We talked to him yesterday. He had his ring finger, his wedding band on his left hand. And the knuckle is so big that I said, how in the world do you just leave it on? Do you play it on? He says, oh, no. Ask me to pull it off. Finish that a minute. Here's Irvin's around the left side. So I reached over. I couldn't pull it off. And he said, here. And he has a wedding band that unsnaps at the back side. I've never seen one of those. Of course, you have to take it off to have all that tape on it.
I wonder if back in 1987 when they won the Super Bowl, if he got his Super Bowl ring snap on and off.
I wonder. We should ask him.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming upon the 2-minute warning. Time remaining in the ball game. And we'll be back to RFK in just a moment.
We've been talking a lot about the great receiver Art Monk. Years ago, the leading receiver in the NFL was that man right there, Charlie Taylor, who also played here for the Washington Redskins. He is currently the receiver coach, and certainly Art Monk would give a lot of credit to that man right there, who also has his plaque up here with the rest of the Washington Hall of Stars.
Redskins ball, 3rd down and 6. Here comes Irvins. He's going to score again. Can he be caught? No. Carries, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Joe Gibbs was right. He said, when I start using this youngster, they're going to say, why did you wait so long?
Well, I'm telling you, and all of this is done in about a quarter and a half of work. With Viner hurt, and then, of course, Riggs with the fumble earlier decided to go with Ricky Irvins. Just incredible that he was able to have such a big day in a short period of time.
And part and parcel of the scene here at RFK is hail to the Redskins.
Charlie, just like you said right there, you can see him shaking his head. Should have done it sooner.
Chance to lip read along with us, Joe Gibbs, the head coach of the Redskins. And I'm sure he was saying, they're going to say I should have done it sooner. And what, this is just more ammunition in the arsenal for the Redskins.
Well, one of the things that he told us is he said, we're not a dominant team. We're a team that has to play well. Now that you have somebody like that you know is a game-breaking type back, I would say that would make the Washington Redskins potentially a very dominant team.
And here is Metcalf from the 6-yard line for the Browns, and he is going to be dropped at the 17. Clarence Vaughn got it.
Well, it's just off tackle, but watch what Ricky Irvins does in his ability to pick the hole. It's supposed to go off tackle. He cuts in, cuts out, can't decide which way to go, stumbles a little bit, now cuts to the outside, gets a nice block once again by Ron Middleton. and he's going to go the distance. Quarter and a half of work and over 130 yards. What a great day for this SC grad.
And now with the ball at the 17-yard line. And 1:43 to go. It's a first down for Cleveland. And they've changed quarterbacks. Phil Cox is now in the ballgame as a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He made a one-play appearance last week against the Jets, and that was right at the end of the first half when Bernie had a hit on his arm and his hand was a bit numb. And this is just to give him some experience. Kozar, 21 of 29, 266 yards in this ball game, no interception. And this pass is complete to Langhorne.
I was about to say, Charlie, he'll be able to keep his quarterback rating high, but the bottom line is the team still's 2-4.
1 minute and counting time remaining in the game. Monty Coleman, who's played in 3 different decades, as has Clay Matthews, and Don Warren of the Redskins made that last play. Flags are down. We'll stop the clock with 47 seconds left in the game.
Prior to the snap, 68 on the offense, false start for a repeat third down.
That is the rookie Ed King. Now let's check in with a 10-minute ticker. In the fourth quarter, New Orleans leading the Eagles. It's now a final. Buffalo wins. Dallas wins. They defeat Cincinnati and Minnesota big over Phoenix in the fourth. But Phoenix now has scored a touchdown. And here it is, Washington 42, Cleveland 17, with 47 seconds left to go in the ballgame to make it official, the Redskins to be 7-0. As far as sideline is complete, the ball pops out and then goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line. It was Michael Jackson who had it. Martin Mayhew was there for the defense. A chance for us to mention with a player injured on the field. So the Redskins will take a timeout. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of NFL football is John Francis. Today's telecast was produced by Tom Roy, directed by John McDonough. Our associate director, is Jeffrey Simon. Our production associate is Harold Bryant. Tim DeKime is our production manager. Keith Scamahorn is our technical manager. And Mitch Geller is our technical director, and a great staff and crew here. Some 75 strong, led by Ruben here in the booth, who always watches over us. And we, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate it from all of you. The temperature has been in the 60s. The wind has been blowing a bit today, but it's been a really nice afternoon for football.
A lot of smiles on the sidelines for the Washington Redskins, and justifiably so. Nothing like heading into a week off. An interesting story about that. Joe Gibbs had told his team, as an incentive earlier when they were 2-0, to say, look, if you continue to win, I'll give you a day off for every win that you have. Now he's faced with an interesting problem here. He's got to give him 7 days off heading into this break. I wonder if he's really going to do it.
Well, when we asked him about it yesterday, he said there are 2 things that players like, money and days off. He said, I couldn't give him money. I could give him days off. He said, I will work it out. Terry Hogue, the injured player who is coming up. He also said, about one of his kids' games that he was at when the coach said, this is the toughest team that you'll face all year, and they beat him to death. And so he said, after the game, he says, next week is the toughest team. And they all said yes, and they believed him. He said, I'll tell them I'll give them the days off later. They'll believe me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Not a veteran team like these guys. They're not buying into that.
Don't forget the second half of the doubleheader here on NBC. Miami, Kansas City going to most of the country. Houston, New York, the Jets. That's a great matchup. And on the West Coast, the Chargers and the Rams. The long pass attempt is incomplete. Stops the clock now with 33 seconds left to go in the ball game. Webster Slaughter, the intended receiver. The plan of the Redskins was to basically put Darrell Green on Webster Slaughter and take him out of the game and make him beat him with somebody else.
Well, as far as I can tell, Charlie, I don't think Webster Slaughter's caught a pass today.
Well, that's what I'm checking on. picks it up, still scrambles, makes a nice move to get away, and almost intercepted. Oh, Slaughter, of course, scored that touchdown. He has that one reception for 11 yards. That was on the fake field goal.
You know what I meant, out of a regular formation.
And so the NFC East is going to look like this. Dallas, Philadelphia, and Phoenix still in progress. So Washington's record will be 7-0, Dallas 5-2, and then 3-3, 3-3, 3-3. Giants play on Monday night. The pass is complete to Slaughter down the sideline. And back to what we were saying, in reality, with the exception of the fake field goal, which Slaughter pulled off so perfectly for the touchdown in the first half, that the Redskins did take him out of the offense, which is what they plan to do.
Well, that's correct. And you look at it that way, there's a touchdown off of a fake field goal, and the other touchdown is on a fumble recovery. You'd have to say that despite the yards Bernie put up passing, that the Redskins actually did a pretty good job defensively.
17 seconds left to go in the ballgame. Todd Philcox replacing Kozar at quarterback to get some work, and he throws downfield, and he is intercepted. Wilbur Marshall has the interception, and he will go out of bounds with 5 seconds left on the clock.
Charlie, that's Wilbur Marshall's 4th interception of the year, and that ties him with teammate Darrell Green for the NFL lead. And because he has more yards, I think that he'll be at the top of the ledger, and you know that he's going to give a lot of grief to his defensive back buddies because of that.
Mike Babb told us that about this time of the year, a Super Bowl team starts to develop a glow about them. Do you see that glow about the Washington Redskins?
Well, it's hard not to like what they do. You know, offensively, we've seen now that they have different weapons. They've got Monk, they've got the posse. Now they've got a new one in Ricky Irvins. They got a defense like this that not only plays solid defense, but turns the ball over. We mentioned at the top that they're leading the league not only in scoring, but scoring defense. How much more do you want? You'd have to say right now that the Redskins look like a favorite to be heading to Minneapolis.
They do have the glow about them. The final, Washington 42, Cleveland 17. Your thoughts?
Well, Washington was as impressive as we anticipated, scoring 42 points at home and being undefeated at home.